Diotrephes last week, which is a rebellious leader. And we have looked at Demetrius. So here they are telling us that it is not only Demetrius that is also a good character we should take as an example. They point us back to C.A.C. that we have learned about 2 or 3 Sundays ago. They said the two of them as an excellent example of a good leader. They who also obey their higher and truthful leaders. So in the house of God, not only in the house of God, but let's start with the house of God. We have who God has placed in our midst as his own servants. How are we truthful to them? How do we obey the commandments of the Lord through them? How do we accord the respect we need to them? So they said these two people, they are good example, because when we look at what Demetrius did that made John to be able to give him this attributes, you can see that he supported them. He supported John and the apostles. He's accommodating. And he also makes the gospel to go higher. So we also working in hands with the man God has placed in our midst. So it also does what? Makes the ministry to be fulfilled and to go higher. So it said this sets him in contrast with not only Demetrius, but also C.A.C. Since both of them are excellent examples of good leaders. So we as a follower in the house of God, or as a servant in the house of God, we must walk in cooperation with who God has placed in our midst, and we must not take on the example of evil, which is Diotrephes, that is a rebel. And we know rebellions, as what we talked about last week, they said it can cause confusion among the church of God. So we are encouraged this morning that we should look at Demetrius as a good leader. What was said about him, according to John and the apostles, they are accommodating, is associating, and also a leader that is worth following. So they said we should use this as a good example. The lesson derived says, to show good leadership by having a commendable life. That is, when we have a commendable life, then we should know that we are showing a good leadership. That is what people say about us. The commendation we get from people, sometimes we need to sit down and look at ourselves also. The Bible even says that we should do what? Examine ourselves whether we are in faith. So when we look at ourselves sometimes, we read ourselves sometimes, we also know who we are in the presence of God. The second part says, truth is not negotiable for an exemplified leader. That is, the truth is not negotiable. What we need to do, we must be truthful. The truth alone, because when we look at what the devotional thought also says, it says that the truth is what Christianity stands for. Christian leaders are called to lead their followers in path of truth, righteousness, and all that Christianity stands for, which is the truth. So it says the truth is not negotiable for an exemplified leader. So in everything we do, we must let the truth prevail. I pray God will bless his word in Jesus' name.
Praise the living Jesus. Are we all blessed? Sorry, we are still struggling with this technical side every Sunday. And we don't know what to do. And I spent a lot of time working on it yesterday, but it's still the same thing today. The Lord will help us in Jesus' name. Please, according to the Sunday school, we are to be a good leader, and we are to be a leader that is always leading with examples. We are to be a leader that is setting the pace for other people to follow. We are to be a leader that other people can as well emulate as we are growing. I pray that the Lord will help us in Jesus.